Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Post to Post. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Neil. Got a doozy for you. We're going to go through every single NHL team. I'm going to tell you my favorite logo from every team. I've done this video in the past. It was 3+ years ago, and I wanted to do it again, mainly because I want to look back on my previous video and see if my opinions change any. I don't remember making that video. Like I said, it was 3+ years ago. I've created 2,500 videos on YouTube since I started in 2017. And I just want to, after this is, after I'm done filming this, I want to go back and watch it, see if I've changed any of my opinions, and just kind of go from there. And if you guys are familiar with the original video, then maybe you'll have fun watching through this. If you're new, would love it if you could hit the subscribe button. I was looking at my stats the other day. Over 60% of return viewers are not subscribed. So if you're coming back and you're watching multiple videos, you might as well just hit the subscribe button down below. That really does help the channel a lot. And of course, at the end of the video, if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button. So let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time. We're gonna go in alphabetical order. As far as abbreviation, here is what I think is the best NHL, or the best logo from every NHL team. Starting off with Anaheim, it's essentially the original logo. You're going to see a trend, okay, throughout this video, and that trend is nostalgia or retro. I grew up in the 90s. I'm a bit of a 90s kid, so I mean, technically I was born in the 80s, but I grew up, in my consciousness in the 90s, and like everything 90s is just so nostalgic to me. So when I look at this, a team that came into the into inception in the 90s, the Anaheim Ducks, this is what I remember. When I think Anaheim Ducks, I don't think the duck foot, I don't think their current colors. I think this logo, I think the good old days, I think that, the movie, obviously the movie. So to me, this is an iconic logo that goes beyond sports. It goes into film, it goes into fashion, and this just does it all for me. It's one of the best logos in hockey ever, not just for the Anaheim Ducks. So love this logo. Moving on to the next one, which is Arizona. This one's tough. I mean, it's not tough, but like there's a lot to choose from. And by the way, when I went through this, I didn't say it earlier. I apologize. I meant to. I'm looking at primary logos and kind of like secondary logos, something you'd see maybe on a shoulder patch or something. I'm not looking at anniversary logos or word mark logos or anything like that. Just basically the primary and secondary logos of every single team's history. Doesn't have to be current. Could also be one they used in the past, like the Anaheim one. So the Arizona one, there's so many to choose from. Like they've had probably like 8 or 9 different either primary or secondary logos throughout their history in the past 30 whatever years. And this one here, the Kachina, it's actually seen different variations itself, little kind of colorization changes actually within it. We saw one recently actually. I just picked the most recent one. I don't really care. I'm not going to get specific about the little, insignificant color changes and stuff. The current one is the best one for me. I really like it a lot. It speaks to their history. It speaks to the area of the United States. It's got lovely storytelling with it as well. It's a really cool brand, and it's very different than everything else in the NHL. So I really like it. Let's move on to Boston. This one. This is basically their shoulder patch, and to me, it ticks all the boxes. Not necessarily color-wise, because I don't love the colors, but it's got text, and it uses text in like a good way. Sometimes it's very easy to use text in a bad way. To me, this text is done perfectly. Stylized text above, which is contained in a bit of a shape, and then very easy to read. So text down below, which is very simple, just says Bruins, all within a shape. It's not like off in the distance. There's not like the bear head and then text on the top that's distracting. There's two things, fighting for attention. To me, boom, Boston Bruins. And then you get the bear. Sometimes the bear is okay and stuff. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it looks like it's on meth, as we know with the meth bear logo. But this one, to me, it's formed physically, like properly. It's aggressive. The eyebrows, the expression in the face, he's angry, he's ready to go, he's ready to play, right? So this is my favorite Boston Bruins logo for all those reasons. Move on to Buffalo. I had to go with the goat head. And I say that in videos and people are like, it's not a goat, right? And I always comment, yes, I know it's not a goat. That's just how it's referred to in like the community of hockey, okay? It will always be the goat head. I know it's a Buffalo, but this was actually tough because, and I'm about to say something that's going to cause some controversy here, but I love the Buffa Slug logo. Maybe I'll put up on the screen. The one that's yellow that looks like a slug. I actually really like that logo a lot. So I actually had a hard time picking my favorite, but I had to bring it down to this because this one makes me nostalgic as well. And it's just that wasn't like a super great era for Buffalo. I don't know if they've ever had a great era, but no offense to Buffalo fans. But to me, this is just when I look at this logo, I think of the players like Daniel Barriere and stuff, and Hasek, just the players that were there during this time, and I loved watching that team during this era as well. So when I think Buffalo, I love the royal blue and stuff, but to me, this is like, I grew up with this Buffalo Sabres. So this is my favorite one. Next is the Carolina Hurricanes. They don't really have a lot to choose from. They've got their primary logo. They've got the original version of this, which only has one flag, and then they've got this one, and maybe there's one other. But this is, it's very simple. It's not like the others. It's very linear and vertical. Most logos are either square or they're a little bit horizontal. This is extremely vertical, which is, it's almost a bit awkward as a primary logo on the front. But whether it's on the front, whether it's on the shoulder, it doesn't really matter to me. I really like this a lot. I like the simplicity. I love what it represents. I love the fact that it's got movement. It's a scene, right? It's got a hockey element with a stick, but it's got a scene of the wind blowing through. So it's got a lot of really cool like storytelling within it. So it's not the best logo in the NHL, that's for sure, but it is my favorite Carolina Hurricanes logo. Let's move on. The Columbus Blue Jackets. This is tough as well because I have so many good logos. Like every single logo that they've ever used, basically, whether it's a shoulder patch or it's a primary logo, they're all good. So their current one is great. The Canon one is amazing. I mean, who doesn't like the Canon? But this is just like this Stinger guy. He has everything. Aggression, great colorization, hockey elements. The text is a bit disconnected, but I still don't mind it. It is stylized nicely. Again, nostalgia, right? So this is, although they didn't use it for very long, I just really like this one. It just really comes down to that. I like everything about it, actually. I would like to see them bring it back. Some people aren't going to be happy with that comment, but I would like to see them bring it back. Not maybe as a primary or a secondary, just in some form or fashion, whether it's on a t-shirt or whatever. I like this. Okay, Calgary. This was difficult for me as well because they've got that really underrated alternate logo that's like a circular, and it's like a scene basically. That's an awesome logo. I almost chose it as my favorite. But again, nostalgia, Blasty, there's no better. I mean, it's Blasty, right? You almost have to choose Blasty. He's the man. So Blasty is a relatively easy choice for me. The other one is underrated, but not as good as Blasty. Okay, next is the Chicago Blackhawks. So I have chosen their alternate logo, which has changed, I would say, at least 15 times as far as colorization, stroke, thickness of certain things. This is, I think, maybe the most recent one. It doesn't really matter how it's colorized. It's a generally cool logo. It's two-dimensional, very simple. It's not complicated. It's representative of the indigenous and stuff. So it tells a story. It's applicable to the team name, and it looks good. And the colors are great. So it's very simple, like I said, but it ticks the boxes for me, so I like this one. Next is the Colorado Avalanche, and I know a lot of people, actually probably 95% of people will disagree with me here, maybe more, but this is my favorite logo in the entire NHL. I don't even know why. It's just something about it. I love Colorado as a state. I love the mountains. I like the colors. The burgundy is very underutilized in the NHL. The specific shade of blue is beautiful. The combination between the two, accented with the white, is amazing. The shape we're used to with the triangle. I don't know. There's just something about it. I can't really explain it other than that. I just love it. Now there's the foot logo, which is probably number 2. There's their actual logo, which is amazing, and they've got maybe one more in their bank of kind of secondary or alternate logos. But yeah, this is it for me. I'm sure most of you will disagree. Dallas. Dallas has some really cool logos, actually. I think about the star one, which is great. Very text heavy though, but it's still, like, as far as text goes, it's nice. But this one is, I love the modernization of this one. I get nostalgic sometimes for certain teams. I don't necessarily get that for Dallas in the terms of logos. Jerseys, yes, but not logos. So I really like the modernization of this logo. It's got depth, it's got dimension, it's got lighting effects. It's got representative of the state of Texas, which is great. The colors are perfect as they should be. Yeah, it's a great logo. Okay, Detroit. They have what? 3 options, I think, maybe? And 4, I guess, if you count the 2 versions of this logo, the original and then this one. It's a great logo. It should never change. It probably never will change. If it gets updated, it would be such an insignificant update, as in the fact that, like, goes from a regular Adidas jersey to prime green, which just has like more physical and bevels and dimension and stuff. Like, that's it. Like, the actual logo is not really going to change. So this was an easy decision for me for Detroit. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers. And I think I'm in the minority here as well. I think the majority of Oilers fans and maybe hockey fans in general don't love the COG logo. They prefer their original logo or whatever other logo, however it's colorized, it doesn't really matter. But this logo to me, again, nostalgic. This is the kind of the Edmonton Oilers that I kind of grew up in, that little like small section of timeline of the Edmonton Oilers. I was very much into hockey at that point, and this was what Edmonton wore, and I loved it. I still do love it, and I hope they bring it back. Spoiler alert, they are for the reverse retro, which is going to be awesome. So yeah, actually easy one for me here for Edmonton. Next, we got the Florida Panthers, another easy one. They've got some awesome shoulder patches. So they've got the state flag that they use on the side of the arm, that whole graphic there. Their actual logo now is okay, but I'm going original, or a variation of the original. Whether you want to use the updated one or use the original, I don't really care. This is an incredible logo. Also, when I was growing up, the first team that I played for when I played hockey, we were called the Panthers. And so I have like a personal connection to the Panthers and this logo. And it just, it means so much more than just the Florida Panthers to me. So I love this logo. I wish they'd bring it back. It is by far one of the greatest logos from the 90s for me. So good job, Florida. Next, the Los Angeles Kings. This was very difficult, actually, because they've got that mid-2000s one. They've got the original one. There's lots of colors to choose from. I had to go with the late 80s, early 90s version of the Chevron one. It just, kind of like the Anaheim one, it extends beyond hockey. So this is like iconic in terms of like fashion. So like a lot of like rappers back in the early 90s, you'd see them in music videos and stuff wearing sweaters or t-shirts with this logo on it. And that just, it just has a different status. I guess that's the best way I can kind of explain it. It's got status. And it's nice as well. Nostalgic, it's nice, it's got status, it extends hockey. Had to pick it. Next, the Minnesota Wild. Not only is this my favorite Minnesota Wild logo, but this is one of the greatest sports logos beyond hockey. Sports logos, I think in general. I love everything about it. I love the fact that it's the shape is very unique. It represents also the head of a bear. You can see the scene in the background with the sunset, the trees, the sun, or the moon, depending on how you want to look at that. I love it. I really, really love it. There's nothing I change about it, and it's beautiful. All right, moving on, we got the Montreal Canadiens. So this is actually my personal favorite team. I talk about all 32 NHL teams on this channel. I collect jerseys from around the league from all teams, as you can see in the background from this video and some of my others. Every video I change up my attire to pay respect to all the other fans out there. If you're a Nashville fan, I wear this for you. Next video, maybe I'll wear Philadelphia out of respect for the Philadelphia Flyers fans. But my team is the Montreal Canadiens. And we got to go back, okay? We got to go back to 1944-45, I think was the year that they used this logo on white. You get that stripe in the background. To me, this is the best version of the Montreal Canadiens logo. I love that jersey as well. It is by far my favorite Montreal Canadiens jersey. So to me, nothing even really comes close to this. I know maybe some Montreal Canadiens fans would disagree, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong. It'd be very boring if we all like the same thing. So it's good that we all like different things. Next is the New Jersey Devils. Well, there's really only two choices. There's the colored version of this, which is the original one from 1982 and the years after. And then there's this one, which is the one that they use now. That's basically it. So their current logo right here, that's their best logo. Next is the Nashville Predators. I went with kind of the original style logo. The new one is nice. It is actually, there's nothing wrong with it. I wouldn't change anything about it. But I like the amount of blue that was used in the original. It's got like a bit of a shimmer or a shine to it as well. I wish they would kind of bring it back from just nostalgia purposes. I would love it. Just I'll put it on an alternate jersey, put it on reverse retro. I don't really care what you do. Bring it back. I love it. Next, the Islanders. So this is going to anger a lot of Islanders fans, but it's not just a meme for me. Like I actually like this logo. Like I really do. I understand what it represents and why Islanders fans hate it. I've read hundreds of comments as to why. I've had conversations with lots of Islanders fans about it, but I don't really care about what it represents in the timeline of the Islanders or the owner or who it represents. I don't really care. It's about the logo for me, and it's about the nostalgia. And this makes me nostalgic, even though they haven't used it very often in their history. I think only for like 1 or 2 years. It's a very short stint, maybe 4 at the most. I'd have to go back and check, but it wasn't long. But I loved it. It is beautiful color wise. It's hockey representative with the net and the stick. It's aggressive. You've got the fisherman on there. He's pissed. He's ready to go. He's ready to throw that stick down and throw some hands. I like it. It's got text as well from a really interesting angle. I know a lot of people hate it, like beyond the meme. I know people hate it, but I love it, and I have no regrets for saying that. Fisherman to the top. Okay, the New York Rangers. It's the Lady Liberty for me. The regular Rangers logo is fine. There's even different variations of it throughout the years. There's the sideways Rangers that comes down on the jersey. I don't know, you can classify that as a logo if you want, but it's a Lady Liberty. There's nothing even close, really, in kind of their gallery that I would choose other than this, so easy choice for me here. Next is the Ottawa Senators. Now, they've actually used some different ones, whether it's a shoulder patch, alternate logo, primary logo. They've got lots in the bank. And to me, this one is the original, or maybe the one that they use now, whatever version you want to talk about or use, it doesn't really matter. Just a classic nostalgic one from the early 90s when they came into the NHL. That's it for me. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's when I think Ottawa Senators, this is the team that I think of. So I like the fact that they went back to a retro look as of lately and moving forward. So great decision by the Ottawa Senators, and yeah, good job. Next is the Philadelphia Flyers, who have, I think, 3 different versions of their logo. One is a very insignificant change, and the other one was they used it on a jersey from like 1 year, I think it was. It was like that really shiny kind of one. I don't know what else to choose. I mean, I only have a couple of options. This is it. This is the best Philadelphia Flyers logo, which is their current one. Next is the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I think there's going to be some split decisions here as well, because there seems to be very polarizing opinions about the Robo Penguin. I read a lot of comments. I've read tens of thousands of comments since I've started making videos on YouTube. I know that there's a lot of love for this logo, and I know that there's a lot of hate for this logo. I would say the majority of people, maybe easily, want to see the jersey come back, not necessarily the logo. I think there's nostalgia for the jersey, maybe not the logo, but I think it's very close to 50-50 when it comes specifically to the logo, not the jersey. So I know there's going to be people looking at this and not liking my decision, but I'm on Team Robo Penguin. I would like to see him come back. It's better than the current logo. It's better than any other logo that they've used. I love me some Robo Penguin. It reminds me of Lemieux and Yager, and like going way back, Tom Barrasso. Like, man, those are good old days. Okay, next is Seattle Kraken. Well, there's 2 logos. There's the primary one, which you can see here, and then there's the alternate one, which is the kind of anchor-looking one. Both are beautiful. I like the primary one. I like the splash of red up there, and the eye just kind of give it some aggression. San Jose Sharks. They have, they've got 2 primary ones that they've kind of changed. This is the current one. Their original one looks similar to this, but doesn't look exactly like this. Then they've got some others, the alternate ones. But this, to me, is... it's kind of like the Minnesota one. It kind of goes beyond hockey and beyond maybe even sports, like just logos in general. I love this logo. The colors, the teal and the orange balance so well together nicely. The black and the white, that's a very common color combination. The black with the teal looks good. The black with the orange looks good. Like, regardless of how you rearrange the colors and what you want to match them with, they all look good together from a color perspective. The triangle in the background represents the Bay Area, which is awesome. You've got the shark pissed off, biting the stick in half, eyes, aggressive, teeth. This is pretty much the perfect logo. I wouldn't change anything about it. Fantastic. The St. Louis Blues, I'll probably get some heat for this as well, but I like the one from I think it was the mid-90s. I think this is the one from the mid-90s. The Wayne Gretzky era, the Brett Hull era, Al McInnes. This is, when I think St. Louis, this is the team that I think of. This is the logo, rather, that I think of. So I had to go with this one. There is no St. Louis logo. That is bad. Even the alternate one that they used on the Reebok jersey, I think, with the arch or whatever it was, that's a nice logo. But to me, this one, colorized specifically like this, is the best. Next, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, Tampa Bay has some pretty great logos in their history. I think the one that they use now is probably their worst, just my opinion. And this one is the best, the one that we're looking at now. It is, I think, the one that they used from like around 2007, 2008 to 2011-ish. I have to double check that after the video, but the text, brilliant. The colors, awesome. You got some black in there, which is great. It's aggressive. I use that word a lot, but it is. It's got the big sharp lightning bolt coming down there. It's awesome. It's great. Next, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, nostalgia. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this brings me back to the mid-90s. I had so many Toronto Maple Leafs friends. I was one of the only people in my class that liked the Montreal Canadiens. The majority of the other guys in my class, liked the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's always like Montreal versus Toronto, and growing up. And this was the logo for years and years and years as I was growing up as a kid. So when I think Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't think of the logo now. I don't think of the St. Pat's logo. I don't think of the Arenas logo. I think of this one right here, the mid-90s. That's how I classified it, as mid-90s. This needs to come back, in my opinion. Next, the Vancouver Canucks, for literally the exact same reason. The skate logo. There was one guy in my class, his name was Jesse. He was a Vancouver Canucks fan, and I remember he had a hat. We all got hats at our a tournament, hockey tournament. I think we were getting awards or something like that. And we were all awarded hats. I got a Florida Panthers one. Still have it, actually. It's somewhere here. And he got a Vancouver Canucks hat. And I was like, I didn't like the Canucks, but I was jealous because I liked the logo, I liked the colors, I liked the branding. So that when I look at this logo, I oddly think of a friend that I have not spoken to in 15 plus years, going way back to the mid 90s even. I just think of him. I think of him loving the team, and this is the Canucks for me. The stuff they have now is great, but this is the Canucks. Next, the Vegas Golden Knights. So I guess there's only two logos to choose from. We've got the alternate, we've got the primary. The primary is decent. I think they could have done better, though. I will say that. But the alternate logo here that we're looking at now, we'll find that on the reverse retro. It is pretty much perfect. I don't think I would change anything about it. Maybe the color's a little bit. It's a little bit of poopy brown going on. But other than that, it is a nice logo. It looks great on the shoulder as well. Next is the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Winnipeg is difficult because they have different variations of a couple different, like this logo here. There's like, I think 3 different variations, or maybe 4 different variations of this logo. This is the one that you find on the alternate jersey, which is actually in behind me. I'll change the frame so you can see it's up there. It is perfect, and especially in a physical fashion, like on the jersey. It's chain stitched, so it's just visually just unbelievable in person. It's the same one that they use on the reverse retro, different color, and same one that they use back in the day, different design a little bit. The current one is fine, but this one to me just screams Winnipeg Jets. I love it. I think it's perfect. Next is the Washington Capitals, which is the last team. It's the Screaming Eagle. They've got some great logos as well in their history, like many other teams, but for me, the Screaming Eagle is just, it's so iconic, and the colors, the kind of really saturated, like aqua, almost like it's between blue and green, but it's not teal. It's like, I don't even know how to describe the color. You can see it right there, however you want to say it. It is great. Like the colors of those two together, the brownish, kind of bronzy, and then the blue, it just looks so good. And I think back to, oh man, who are some of the players? Well, actually, a veteran played in this jersey for at least one season, I think. But Yager, I think, wore this. And then we had, who else did we have? I gotta think about this. Because there's one specific player I'm thinking of. It's not even like the primary player. Oh, Adam Oates. Adam Oates was the player I was trying to think of, but there's many others, but I don't know why I chose Adam Oates. There's lots of other people I could have chosen, but that was the one. I could just see his face. I could see the jersey. So yeah, Washington Capitals, Screaming Eagle logo. It is the best. That wraps up this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You can disagree. Please disagree. It would be so boring if we all like the same thing. So please let me know down below in the comment section. If you got a couple of minutes, you want to list all 32 teams, let me know your favorite logo for every team. If you just want to talk about your favorite team, maybe you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan. Let me know your favorite Philadelphia Flyers logo. We'd love to hear from you. Read all the comments. Hope you guys are having a great night. I've got a jersey concept video coming for you tomorrow. It's a little bit different than we usually do, but I do think you're gonna like it. So if you are new, hit the subscribe button and join me for that video and many other videos here on the channel. I release videos almost on a daily basis, taking a little bit of a slow pace throughout the summer, but we're coming back into it in the fall, a video every single day. And if you enjoyed this video, obviously hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Adios.